Good morning, everyone. How are you all? So my name is Sarah Rogers. I'm the Commercial Director for TEC RFID, and we're here today to just talk about RFID, and we've got some exciting case studies to talk to you. I have dotted around on each of your tables some sample labels for you to have a look at. If you've never seen an RFID label, there'll be some there. So basically, if you hold them up to the light, you'll see the RFID chip and antenna sandwiched inside the label. It's this chip that stores the unique data about the particular product. Now, we have hundreds of different types of label for hundreds of different types of products. We've brought some samples over for you to come and have a look at breakout. Come and have a chat with us. So UHF RFID tags, they are passive, which basically means there's no battery life. It's the electromagnetic field from the RFID readers that wake up the tags enough to capture the data at distance. So the read distance is approximately around 5 to 10 metres. And either by using the handhelds or positioning the antennas at bay doors, you can auto capture the data that comes through and then pass that data to the appropriate business system or software. So there are significant benefits of RFID when used in conjunction with barcoding. The main one really is the ability to scan hundreds of different items in seconds. Customers have been reducing their stock takes from several days with lots of people to just a few minutes or hours. So there are many components of the RFID system, and we work with Barcode-IT to put these jigsaw pieces together. So we have had a few nightmare customers who have come to us with problems. They've tried RFID and it's not worked for them. We go in and fix it, basically. So we're a safe pair of hands. You know, it could come down to the tag type. They bought US tags because they were 2p cheaper, and they're trying to use it on EU technology, which is just not compatible. So getting the right components, the right jigsaw pieces is crucial in any RFID project. So just a few benefits there, sorry. So we've got various different customers in lots of different market sectors: healthcare, distribution, warehousing, etc. They all have the same problem. Where is my stuff? Where is my stock? Where was it last? Can I stop sending 100 people to try and find this item that should be here but is not? You know, can I have a system that tells me when something is due for a service rather than having to, you know, manually look up from a piece of paper? We're going to go on to a few case studies in a second. I'm going to pass over to my colleague Albert. The first one is Oakland International. So we're going to talk to you about what their problems, their pain points were, and then move on to how RFID has helped them as a business. So I'm going to pass over to Albert now.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Sarah. First we're going to go through a number of case studies. So the first one is Oakland International. So they're a leading provider of chilled food distribution. So they've got a number of sites throughout the UK and Ireland. And so they were having problems with either pallets not arriving or being sent to the wrong location. That was costly for them and impacting their relationships with their customers. So food going to waste. They're receiving fines from some retailers when the orders were not received. They also didn't have the data to prove whether the pallets that were being sent out had been loaded. And so this was causing them some costs and also damaging customer satisfaction. So they were looking at RFID as a solution. So here's a picture of one of their sites, one of their bay doors, and each of their sites have around 20 dock doors per site. So we have a fixed RFID reader and then 4 antennas per bay door. So you can see the antennas there. So this enables us to have a tag on each pallet that's printed out, and then as each pallet is loaded, the system that the drivers can look at on the tablet on each door tell them whether that tag is valid or not for that load, and it will also notify the driver immediately if they've loaded a pallet that does not belong on that load. So it ensures accuracy, and they've also used that in conjunction with having a bit of a checklist as well for things like checking the temperature of the vehicle and asking some other questions that they needed to ask. So it's all a complete solution. Yep. So as I said, the RFID system validates the pallets and alerts the drivers if there's an issue. And so since implementing this, Oakland, they haven't lost a pallet or sent one to the wrong place, and that's about 3 years ago, I believe. So that's Oakland. If we move on to the next case study, which is GreenSafe IT. So they're a provider of IT services and recycling. So they bring in a lot of recycled, refurbished IT equipment, laptops, hard drives, and other items like that. So there is some value to the stock that they have. So they're located in Worcestershire. So kind of some of the challenges they were facing is the amount of time it was taking to do stock takes. They were quite often missing high value stock, so that was costing money, and time spent locating items that couldn't be found. And then also errors in the process of items not being configured or being shipped to the wrong place. So this is just a diagram of the setup that they had. So these are fixed readers. So each of the yellow ones is a fixed reader, and then the purple squares are antennas. So they had we have antennas on each of the aisles, so they know at least which aisle an item's gone down, and then there are other antennas in other areas in the packing and preparation of the items. So here's a picture of some of the antennas on the aisles. The waves are added in Photoshop, so you don't actually see green waves coming out of the antennas. So the solution is we've got software called RFID Asset. So it is used for asset management, but also for inventory management. Because in their case, they manage each item individually. So it has a unique code. So the warehouse workers print the labels that goods in, and then it's automatically tracked by the fixed readers. And if there's an item that needs to be located, they have a handheld reader that they can use to locate that missing item. And then, of course, we've also got alerts if an item is gone through the wrong place and it hasn't been like, for instance, if it hasn't gone through configuration, it should have. So just a bit about the results. So they have a last seen on all items when they're scanned by the scanners. They've got an integration with their existing system, and missing items located in less than 5 minutes because of the RFID find item feature. And they've also got a few notifications. So if an item is dispatched, it doesn't have a sales order, then that sends a notification, for instance. So moving on to the next one, we've got Denso Manufacturing. So they're using RFID to track their reusable totes, like in the picture. We've got a number of gates, so this is just one example here with antennas. So as a lorry drives through with fabric sides, it scans through the lorry and scans the totes that are on the back of it. Denso, they make mostly HVAC units, radiators, and ECMs for automotive, and they're also using RFID Asset, tracking more than 24,000 totes using the system with fixed portals on 4 different doors. And then that with the handheld readers can also be used to do a stock take of the totes and also to find items if they're missing. And then one more, which is WM Lee. So they're using it to track these crates. So they've got just handheld readers using RFID asset. So they produce parts for HGV manufacturers. They're one of the largest iron foundries in the UK. So they're tracking the molds using an RFID label per crate, and there's 3 crates deep, and then they can scan through 2 crates to the 3rd one at the back using the RFID reader. So obviously that's a big benefit for quickly updating the stock locations and finding items. So there's a few other customers that we've got using our systems. I'll just get a bit more detail on the RFID asset software as well now. So you've got a few use cases, some of which we've discussed, like pallet tracking, reusable totes, tool tracking, plant equipment, lab equipment, healthcare, IT. So there's quite a few different use cases, and there could be more. So yeah, the software, it's off the shelf, so it can be deployed very quickly. It's cloud-based, although there is an on-prem version, but the cloud-based is cheaper and easier to deploy. You can have custom branding, and it uses the handheld, the fixed readers, and printing, so it's going to be an all-in-one solution. So just a little quick video demo of the handheld app. So this runs on Android. So I'm doing a bulk update. Basically it's scanning tags, so you can see how quickly it scanned 86 tags. We'll have, if you want a live demo, will be available at the table. So select a location, and then it's updated very quickly. And then doing a stock take, so that's the system knows what's supposed to be in a certain location. So this is checking whether everything is there. So creating that stock take within scan. You can see found 85 items, none are missing, and one's misplaced, which means it belongs in a different location, but it's been scanned there. And then when the stock take's complete, it's marked as complete, so it can be paused and restarted. And then the last thing is finding items, which GreenSafe use quite often. So looking for a specific item. When it's scanned, it starts beeping and the bar goes up. The closer you get, the higher the bar goes. So that makes it a lot quicker to find items. So move on to the next slide. So this is just a quick look at the web as well. So this is looking at the reader status, so fixed reader monitoring. Looking at printing as well, so you can get a custom print template and then print labels directly from the system using RFID. Looking at a specific asset and the asset history, so you can see a history of which location it's been to, or updates, and look at comments and add attachments to an asset. I think, yeah, that's it on that web demo. So there's custom branding as well, so you can have your own logo and your own color in the system. And just a quick slide on why working with us. So we've got experience of deploying these different use cases. The software is there, so we can do bespoke software or we can add new features, but there is a ready-to-go software solution that you can use. We've got services including installation, pre-install testing, which is an important part of the process, the configuration and support, and we're focused on the results for the business. So we've just got contact information there, and you can come see us at the booth if you'd like to learn a bit more. And yeah, just we can answer any questions if anyone has any.
I've got a question.
Yep.
What's the single biggest misconception that a client has about RFID when you first engage with them?
Yeah, single biggest misconception. It's probably sometimes there's a conception that with an RFID tag that you could have readers and then you'd be able to say have some readers and be able to read in a warehouse where anything is within a meter or so. So that is very challenging to pull off. With traditional RFID that we're demonstrating, mostly you'd have a zone, so you'd know it's in an aisle or it's in a room, and then the handheld. So there is the ATR 7000, which can provide a more close location, but that's a bit more of an involved deployment, and it has some limitations with the number of assets you can use as well.
Typically, how long does an implementation take?
That's a good question. So with a handheld reader deployment, it can be just a few weeks because they're very quick to get up and running, and we typically have stock with the readers. With a fixed reader deployment, it's probably going to take around 6 weeks to 6 months, depending on the number of sites and the lead times of what's being ordered.
Follow-on question, what are the biggest challenges in implementing?
Yeah, the biggest challenges, one is the installation, just making sure that the cabling and mounting is done correctly. And then the other one would be it's probably more operational challenges. So if it can be very consistent, the way the items are tagged, the way they're packed, it makes it a lot easier to scan it. But if there's quite a lot of variability as to how the items are packed, that can make it more difficult to read consistently.
If you've got an existing WMS system, can you integrate with that rather than use that, or is that software designed to displace that?
Yeah, it can integrate with existing. So GreenSafe IT have integrated with their existing system. So there's built-in REST API, and we can do integrations with a number of different systems. It does require a bit of a scoping exercise. But yeah, it can integrate. And we've also got middleware that if you don't need the RFID asset software, we do have middleware that can work as well. Like with Oakland, that was more of a middleware scenario, and they had an existing WMS. Yes?
Is there a shelf life to the tag?
Yeah, the shelf life, they last at least generally, For the paper tags, it's probably a year or two, but for the more robust tags, it could be 10 years or more. So kind of depends. It really depends on how much of a demanding or depends on like the scenario that they're being used in, whether the tag's getting damaged, what the shelf life is going to be.
So
Yep.
you could integrate with like a QR code that's on the unique products. You could aggregate them into a bin or into a pallet and just put one RFID on the pallet. It would lock everything else.
Yes, that's correct. You could associate items with a pallet and then just scan that pallet. And then with most of the tags are printable, so you can then print QR codes, barcodes, or whatever other features. And then there's some other tags that are more robust that don't go through a printer, but they can often be laser etched, or you can have a label put on top of them as well.
When is RFID not a good solution? So when you get approached by people who think the technology might fit, where's your sort of key decisions that says guides to whether you're a good solution or not? What's the key things you consider?
So one of the things we consider is whether you want to, if they want to scan only one item at a time, it may be better to go with something like barcoding, although with Oakland, they're scanning one at a time, and that did work well, just because it was more reliable than barcoding. Some of the limitations are, it's more challenging to read with liquid and metal. So for metal, there are on-metal tags that can help, but if there's metal blocking between the tag and the antenna, then you're not going to be able to scan. So when there's a lot of metal, it's something that we need to consider whether it's going to work or not. It oftentimes does, but it requires testing and then making sure that it works. I'd say one of the number one things is if people are carrying items, if the human body is a factor, that can be something that can block the ability to read. So that's a situation where we'd either not recommend it or we would do testing to make sure that we can actually do it.
Have you ever come across yet, because I know RFID's been around for a long time, have you come across projects where you've actually replaced legacy tech, or is it always greenfield, or what's the kind of engagement?
Yeah, it's, I don't know, Sarah.
It's a bit of a mix actually, and sometimes we might just do a small element and present the data in a format like SQL table for them to interrogate it and do that bit. Sometimes it's full end to end. So sometimes we do certain jigsaw pieces of the whole piece,
right.
And sometimes the whole piece.
So you can be selective in terms of a full process as to where your technology sits to get the most out of it.
Yeah. And we're very much like, we won't recommend RFID if it's not going to work. And a real crucial part of every project is we go out with our travelling demo kit. We've got tripods. We set up a rig of the scenario that the customers want, and then we get their items, we tag them up, we push them through the portal, we spend a lot of time testing, and then we produce a report based on the findings. So it might be, okay, with this particular use case, we'd recommend 2 tags per item because of these reasons. Some plastic totes, they do, from an RFID perspective, act as metal. So you might need a non-metal tag on particular plastic containers. So we always recommend just spend that little extra time planning, testing, and test again. And then we can go into the project more successfully then.
Brilliant. I suppose, in a way, because your technology is so physical in that sense, unlike a lot of software that we do or ERP integrations that we do, tested environment must be absolutely the key. Yeah. The keystone to making sure it's a success.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can angle the antennas in a certain way where you can get directionality. So, say for example, for Oakland, when they're loading a pallet on, they were just getting drivers putting the wrong pallets on. High expensive meat products going to London when it should have gone to Manchester, spoiling the whole load. So now what happens is you have first scene with that antenna, last scene with those antennas. So you get directionality. First scene, last scene, you've gone on, somebody's taken it off, and then an alert instantly appears on the tablet for the driver to see, but then an alert to the management team as well, to say, right, okay, Joe Bloggs has just loaded this pallet onto Preston's trailer when it should have gone somewhere else. And that's the big key. It's kind of capturing the potential issues at a point where they can resolve it. And also the customers were phoning up saying, oh, we haven't had our milk today. And they didn't have any comeback. It's like, oh, okay, well, we'll refund you, or we'll accept your charge or your fee for non-delivery. But now they say, no, actually it was delivered, we've got proof, and we're not giving you a refund because, the guy that's just gone off sick signed for it and you have had it. So it's just giving more visibility into where everything is, capturing the problems when they can do something about it.
What about companies who store a lot of products outside? What about tracking things externally?
So we have deployed an active. So today we're talking about passive RFID, where the tags don't have a battery. But we can also offer a solution for like 4G, 5G, GPS tracking, active tagging, where you get real-time visibility of, you know, if it was machinery for the HS2 project, where they're moving around lots of high-value machinery, you need that real-time visibility.
Or trailers and things like
Yeah.
that as well,
Yeah.
around sites.
So there's
Yeah.
waterproof and high. It's that kind of scoping session really. What's best for the customer, and typically it's yes, this would work. It gives you the visibility when you're in the range of the passive technology. But if you're outside four walls and you need that active tag, then you're going to need a different type of tag.
Yeah, so there's tags that are suitable for outdoor use, and also the some of the antennas as well we can install outdoors, and the readers typically will be the new reader, the FXR90 is waterproof. Was IP67. The other readers we would put them in an IP rated box, install them, so yeah, it could be deployed outdoors as well.
The next step for Oakland is they were actually doing a proof of concept of this fixed reader on the actual trailer. So then they have like 4G, 5G connectivity on that new device. So they not only have visibility at the warehouse distribution centre, they then know where it was. And we can have, there's GPIO ports on here, so you can have door sensors. So you can have like door opened, can't see tag anymore, door closed. So, you know, basically you were delivered physically there. That's when we last saw you as a tag. You can have different lights as well. So you can have like a green light or a red light if there's something that shouldn't be there.
Can I just, as a quick idea of it, who as a business has actually utilised any RFID technology in the operation? A captive audience. Brilliant. That's great. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks for all this.